and 2, go 3, go 4, 5, 6, 7, plie, 8 tendus, 6, 7, 8, and stretch around, 7, 8, 8 tendus, plie on the last one, stretch around, and then go like this, and just go boom, 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 like that. Maybe do that twice through, okay? Right foot, front, flex, stretch, close first, side, flex, stretch, brush front, brush back, front, back, front, back, demi, knees open, left foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, and side, 2, 3, brush front, heel on top, 2, back, front, and back, front, back, demi plie, 8 tendus, right foot side.
Tony, how I see you is your contribution that you are making to dance and to the performing arts in Boston and the world. I see you as someone who is actually taking whatever the contribution is. As you just described, the first performance that your company did back at Roxbury Community College, you happen to know a poet and you happen to know somebody who's involved with music and performance, and somehow it's kind of like in the spirit of, let's have a show. That whole that 30s movie kind of thing where you actually took the community together and said, let's do it. Let's do something that gives us an opportunity to express ourselves, as opposed to the ballet, which we know can be this very, very distinct and separate entity, this very, very elite kind of thing. And I think, am I correct in saying that that's where you've really crossed the bridge?
Yes.
That's been your contribution.
Yeah, no, I would say so, Bill. And I feel that dance has to be accessible, and it can't be sort of an elitist thing, and it has to be something that kids can really feel like they can attempt to do this. Gives them the confidence that they could do something artistic and be on the stage, and also, I feel that that's one way to get the message across, is to have a performance, to do a show, and then it brings in the whole community, and the kids are there, but also you're bringing in the press and the parents of the kids and all of that. So, yeah.
Tony, we were talking a little bit about Jacques D'Amboise. Yes. I saw him actually on an interview show he was on recently. You and he have so much in common, dating back to the Boston Ballet when he was guesting with them and you're performing at the Boston Ballet.
Yes.
But certainly in terms of the outreach that you are doing, that he is doing as well. Say a few words about that.
Sure. I think Jacques was a pioneer in that field, and it's actually
bringing dance to the masses.
Bringing dance to the masses, and especially young kids and kids who, might not become a professional dancer, but just the fact that dance can provide that important component that makes a child successful. And so I thought, gee, what should I do with my life post my dancing days? And a friend of mine said, oh, you should go back to your roots and give back to the kids that, what you received, through my years of dancing, my dance career, which was sort of in a way, a lifesaver for me. It got me out of the projects where I lived, and
You travel the world.
I travel the world, and that's right. And so after all of that, I just thought, I needed to do something. And in fact, when I founded Ballet Rox in 1995, around that time, I contacted the NDI, the National Dance Institute, that Jacques, of course, founded, and I was able to go down and spend some time there, and Jacques and his staff were very, very accommodating and gave me a lot of, advice and information on what to do. And so I really, owe a lot to Jacques and the NDI, the first African American dancer with the Boston Ballet, and I was there as a charter member of the company in 1964, the very first year that we became a professional dance company.
Yes, but you were, in a sense, kind of the Jackie Robinsons of the ballet, because it wasn't done. Why wasn't it done?
Well, I mean, back then, this is in the early 60s, before the Civil Rights Act, and so Boston was very racially divided, and I lived in I had a black dad and a white mom. And so, race was, it's like, race was something that was like wearing clothes. It's like, it's like this is a part of my persona. And so it was something that when I got involved in dance, I was able to find a world that I hadn't really experienced up until that time. In terms of, sort of having a dance company and a dance school and having performances. And I was very conscious that I was half black, but I could sort of pass for Mexican or Egyptian or Indian or Sicilian. And, it's like, so let's not really talk too much about the black side. Because things were so white, and I was sort of scared, of this whole world. And it wasn't until I actually joined the Joffrey Ballet in 1967, there were like 4 other guys there that were black, and I said, oh. And that's when I came out as a black person. It was like, okay, it's okay to be black. And so that was a big sort of thing to deal
Virginia
with.
Williams is really synonymous with ballet in the city of Boston, and tell me a bit about Virginia's influence on your decision to be an artistic director and your life in the dance.
Sure, Virginia.
Did she make it easier or harder for you?
I think I would say easier, actually, because I really respect what she did, as a pioneer of dance in Boston, and
the country.
And the country. Back then in the early '60s, there were like 3 major dance companies in the United States, and there were a lot of smaller civic dance
New York
companies.
City Ballet,
New York City Ballet, American Ballet Theater. Joffrey was around.
Yeah.
And
all 3 in New York City.
New York City, yes,
yeah.
right, exactly.
Not much anywhere else, really.
No, they had San Francisco, they had Pennsylvania, they had
But those
Boston
came
Ballet.
along, I think, in that Ford Foundation era when the Boston Ballet got its money and started up as a professional.
Right.
But unless I'm mistaken, I think
no,
that's what happened.
No, that's true. That
but
was
back to Virginia.
Yes, back to Virginia. No, she, she was someone that I'm sure would be proud today to know that back then when she first became, when her company finally became a professional ballet company, and we were, certainly in 1964 weren't really up to snuff on being, an international ballet company, and we were there, but still there were a lot of talented dancers back then, and Virginia had trained a lot that had gone on to New York City.
A surprisingly great number of dancers who went on to the great companies of the world. Virginia had a hand in training them.
Exactly, and so I think today the company is an international company, and she would be very proud to know that, but all credit has to go to her, and I really respect exactly what she did. I know some of the people that have been involved with her, danced with her, might have had some, screaming, on their part.
That's the nature of powerful people like Virginia, influential people, is they make waves. Come on, if she didn't make a wave, she would never had a company. She wouldn't. You wouldn't be here.
That's right. And she certainly screamed at me, and I just kept my mouth shut, and I just did my work, and one thing about her is that she really knew how to make. She knew how to make the most of a young person in terms of achieving. It's like you had to really prove to her that you could do, a solo part or something like that. And so everyone was trying to get her eye, and so we all worked so hard.
Very competitive with one another.
Very competitive.
You had to be.
We were all competitive, and we were still.
Was she a fair judge? That's a tough question. Mostly, would you say mostly?
She, in terms of, I could talk in terms of myself,
yes.
and she really supported me.
Yes,
and
she gave you some big opportunities.
She did. She gave me some very big opportunities, and after dancing 3 or 4 years, she picked me to dance the lead in Scotch Symphony with Kay Mazo.
I saw that
1967,
yes.
And she came up as a guest, and so I got a chance, and I got some nice reviews in the Times and Dance Magazine, and so that sort of, made me sort of a local star in the dance community.
So you could say that you're part of Virginia Williams' legacy, couldn't you?
Yes.
What's your legacy going to be, Tony?
My legacy is being able to show that not only that dance is accessible for everybody, and that my school and my dance company and my own particular production of the Urban Nutcracker, is all about diversity. And my school has kids of every color. There are gay parents that have kids in my school. There are straight parents. There are single parents. There are welfare parents. There are wealthy parents. My school is like the United Nations of dance schools, and that what I want to do is to show that what dance did for me, to show that just because I was a poor kid that was biracial and didn't have any real identity as a young person, that dance helped me find myself and find my soul, and that I want to provide that opportunity for everyone, not just a poor kid, biracial kid, but for all kids. But I want them all all the kids in the room to be from. You don't have to be from one particular background. You're very multicultural, multi-diverse, and that I hope that that will continue on. That we'll have a school in Boston that will be fostering the mission of inclusiveness, and that, hey, why not use a former aristocratic art form, ballet, which it was a very much a court dance for many, many years, and then a dance for the rich and a dance for the elite, and for the audience as well. Why not make that dance for everybody? And that's what I hope to do.
We've been speaking with Anthony Williams, the founding director of Ballet Rox. Tony, thanks so much.
Thank you, Billy. Draw around and then circular away from the bar around. Okay? Two grand, yeah. So first grand plie, arm toward your bras, and then the second one, arm's going to come up. Okay? All right. Eyes up and just hold. First rounded.